Hello, this is Ruffel Joy C Manalo from the Faculty of Nursing, Pathom Rajabhat University. Welcome to our intensive review class, and our topic is about modal verbs. So, what is modals? Modals are verbs such as can, could, may, might, must, ought to, shall, should, will, would, have to, that is usually used with another verb to express ideas such as possibility, permission, ability, request, suggestion, obligation, prediction, advice, and offer. So as you can see here, under possibility, you can find there can, could, may, might, and must. So for the can, you can make a sentence like, it can be very hot in Arizona. For the could, you could say, it could be faster to go by train. For may, you could say, it may rain today. For might, you can say, you might forget his assignment. For must, you can say, you must be tired. So let's go to permission. So these are the verbs that falls in this category. Can, could, and may. For can, you could say, can I go to the cinema? For could, you could say, could I visit you this weekend? For may, you could say, may I join you for dinner? So that's for the permission. For the ability, you can use these verbs can and could. For can, you could say, I can speak English. For could, you could say, I could race cars. So that's for the ability. Now let's move on with the request. So request, it involves can, could, will, and would. For can, you could say, can you wait a moment, please? For could, you could say, could I have some tea, please? For will, you could say, will you please shut the door? For would, you could say, would you turn off your mobile phone? So that's under request. So let's move on with the suggestion. So you can use the words can, could, may, and shall. For can, you could say, can we visit grandma at the weekend? For could, you could say, could we have Japanese food for lunch? For may, you could say, may I help you? For shall, you could say, shall I carry your bag? And for the obligation, there are three. We have these words, ought to, should, and have to. For ought to, you could say, you ought to switch off the light when you leave the room. For should, you could say, you should wash your hands before eating. And for have to, you could say, in America, you have to drive on the left. So that's obligation. For the prediction, there are two. So that's will and might. For will, you could say, I think it will rain today. For might, you could say, he might win the game. So that's prediction. Now let's move on with advice. So for the advice, we can use the words must, ought to, should, have to. For must, you could say, you must see the new film with Brad Pitt. For ought to, you could say, you ought to drive carefully in bad weather. For should, you could say, you should leave early to avoid the traffic. For have to, you could say, children have to go to school every day. Or most of the students have to wear a jacket. So that's advice. So let's move on with the last one. It's an offer. Modal verbs can use to offer. So these words falls under this category, which involves can, could, and might. For can, you could say, I can lend you my car till tomorrow. For could, you could say, I could do the laundry for you. And for the might, you could say, I might give you some money. So for the negative modals, we add not and ot to the modal verb to form its negative. So negative modal verbs express prohibition. It prohibits. So example, cannot, may not, must not, should not, would not, shall not, need not. So for the prohibition, for the words must not or may not, you could say, you must not work on dad's computer. or you mustn't work on Dad's computer, or you may not work on Dad's computer. For the cannot, you could say you cannot borrow her umbrella, or you can't borrow her umbrella. Should not, you could say you should not miss the orientation, or you shouldn't miss the orientation. Would not, you could say sometimes she would not call me over the phone, or sometimes she wouldn't call me over the phone. Shall not, you could say I shall not carry your heavy bag. Need not, you could say I need not to go there early. So those are the words that we can use for the negatives. Must not or may not, cannot or can't, should not or shouldn't, would not or wouldn't, shall not. So for the activities, directions, in activity 1, you complete the sentences by using the word can and the verbs from the box. So these are the words here: take, go, play, eat, tell, visit. So for example, here, you take out the word play because that's the answer, plus the word can. They can play baseball in the park. So can plus the modal verb play to make the sentence correct. So as you go along, please complete these following activities in activity 1. And for the activity 2, directions, underline the modal verb and write the modality on the space provided after the sentence. So you have to underline what is the word there, what is the modal verb, and then you also indicate if it's possibility, permission, ability, request, suggestion, obligation, prediction, advice, offer, and prohibition. And as well, that is in this page, that is until 20. For activity 3, directions, you choose the correct modal verbs to complete the sentences. So you have here 10 items. And for the practice in speaking in activity 4, you have to find with a partner, or you can do it yourself. Then box the modal verbs used in the conversation and identify its modality. So it's here. And then for the activity 5, you have to go back again and read the conversation and decide if the statements are true or false according to the text and write your answer on the space provided. So you have to send your answers through my email, Line ID, or Facebook account. So thank you very much, and I wish you have a good day. Bye.